fourth degree in violation of Revised Code Section 2913.51A. Subsequent to that, there was a filing for an intervention in lieu of conviction. Mr. Mulkey, who's representing the defendant, case was then referred for the appropriate evaluations, and we're here today to address the defendant's motion. It is the state's understanding that the defendant would then enter a plea of guilty and waive indictment in this matter.
Mr. Mulkey?
That's all accurate, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, you want to address the motion for intervention first?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you so much. Yes, Your Honor, as the state has pointed out to the court, we have filed that motion for intervention in lieu. We believe that he qualifies for intervention in lieu. He recognizes that he does have a substance abuse problem that would be suited to an intervention in lieu request of the court. So we would ask the court, upon accepting his guilty plea, that he be allowed to enter treatment and address his substance use. Thank you.
All right, does the state have a position on the intervention motion?
Your Honor, we would just leave that to the court's discretion. Obviously, he qualifies.
Okay, I will grant the intervention motion. All right, Mr. Ramsey, how old are you?
35.
How far did you go through school?
All the way out through high school.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes.
Prior to coming to court, have you taken any drugs or alcohol or any prescription medication in the last 48 hours?
I took a prescription pill for my stomach, but other than that, I haven't taken any illegal drugs or anything of the sort.
All right, have you ever been diagnosed with or treated for any mental illness?
No.
Did you get a copy of the information that was filed in this case? The charge?
I have, yes.
All right. Any questions about it?
No.
Do you understand you have the right to have your case presented to the grand jury for them to decide whether or not to indict you?
Yes.
Did you discuss that right with your attorney?
I have.
And are you going to waive that right?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Mulkey?
So this is where you sign this one here. Mhm.
Your Honor, for the record, I'm handing you the waiver of indictment that has been signed here today in open court by the defendant. Mr. Mulkey might also sign that document.
All right, I'll accept the waiver of indictment. Now, before I accept your guilty plea, I need to determine that you know and understand the constitutional rights you'll be waiving, the consequences of your guilty plea, and the maximum penalty I could give you, and I need to be satisfied that your guilty plea is being made freely, knowingly, and voluntarily. I'm going to ask you questions. If you don't understand a question or you want to talk some more to Mr. Mulkey, let me know and I'll give you more time. You understand that? Okay. Make sure you speak up, okay?
Yes.
You have a constitutional right to have a trial either to me or to a jury of 12 Lake County citizens. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
If you go to a jury trial, all 12 members must agree to a guilty verdict before you can be found guilty. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
If you go to trial, the prosecutor will call witnesses to testify against you. Do you understand the prosecutor must prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt at a trial?
Yes.
After the witnesses are done testifying for the prosecutor, you have the constitutional right to have your lawyer cross-examine the witnesses. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
If you go to trial, you have the right to have witnesses come here and testify for you. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
If those witnesses refuse to come to court, I'll issue an order called a subpoena to make them come and testify. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
You have the right to testify at trial if you want to. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
You have the constitutional right to not testify at trial if you do not want to. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
If you decide not to testify at trial, nobody is permitted to comment on that decision. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you go to trial and you're found guilty, you have the right to appeal the guilty finding. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, I am.
If you file an appeal, you have the constitutional right to have a lawyer represent you in the appeal. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
If you could not afford to hire a lawyer, one would be provided at no cost. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you file an appeal, you're entitled to have a transcript of all the hearings in this case. Do you understand that right?
Yes.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes.
If you could not afford a copy of those transcripts, they'd be given to you at no cost. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you plead guilty today, you will not have the right to appeal the guilty finding. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about any of these rights?
No, I do not.
Do you still want to plead guilty to this charge?
Yes.
Do you understand by pleading guilty, you're fully admitting your guilt to the charge?
Yes.
Do you understand by pleading guilty to this felony that upon a conviction, you're voluntarily giving up your freedom for whatever period of time that I could sentence you to prison, to jail, or to community control?
Yes.
Receiving stolen property is a felony of the 4th degree, carries an 18-month maximum prison sentence and a $5,000 maximum fine. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand that if a prison term is imposed in this case, that you might have to serve a period of post-release control as part of your sentence for up to 2 years under the parole authority?
Yes.
If you were placed on post-release control and violate any conditions, the parole authority could send you back to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If your violation is a new felony, then you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for that violation. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And if that were to occur, the maximum prison sentence for the violation would be the greater of 12 months for the time left under post-release control. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand if a prison term is imposed, you are eligible for judicial release?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to place you on an intervention plan. It could be up to 5 years. If you violate any conditions of that plan, then I can terminate your plan. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And if I terminated that plan, that means you would be convicted of this charge, and I could send you to prison for 18 months. You understand that?
Yes.
Has anybody promised you that I will be lenient on you just because you're pleading guilty to this charge?
No.
Has anybody promised you what I would sentence you to in this case if it comes to that?
No.
Do you understand if you are sentenced in this case, I do not have to follow the sentencing recommendation of either the prosecutor or your lawyer?
Yes.
Have you had enough time to talk to Mr. Mulkey before pleading guilty today?
I suppose, yeah.
Has he discussed everything about your case and answered all of your questions?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with the advice he has given you?
Yes.
Have you been threatened or coerced in any way to plead guilty today?
No.
Are you freely, knowingly, and voluntarily entering your guilty plea?
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
No.
All right, Ms. Linden, if this case went to trial, what would the evidence show?
Thank you, Your Honor. Had we proceeded to trial, the state would have submitted evidence to show beyond a reasonable doubt all those facts that are set forth in count one of the information regarding the vehicle belonging to Raymond Todd Smith. It was actually taken from Pennsylvania without his consent and ended up that the defendant came here and did not have permission to have it during that period of time.
Mr. Mulkey, anything to add to those facts?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Ramsey, did you hear what Ms. Linden said that the facts would show if the case went to a trial?
Yes.
Are those facts true?
They are.
What's your plea to receiving stolen property, a felony of the 4th degree?
Guilty.
Mr. Mulkey?
Sign it here. Date it there. It's 11/27/24. All right.
Your Honor, for the record, I'm handing the written plea of guilty to Judge Menashe. It's been signed here today in sign that document.
All right, Mr. Ramsey, is this your signature on this written plea of guilty?
Yes, it is.
Did you sign it voluntarily?
Yes.
And do you want me to accept your written plea of guilty?
Yes, please.
All right, I'll accept the written plea of guilty. Defendant was present. Mr. Mulkey advised Paul of his rights, made a knowing, intelligent, voluntary waiver of those rights. He understands the nature of the charge, the consequence of his guilty plea, and the maximum penalty. Finding it to be knowing, intelligent, and voluntary, will accept his plea of guilty to receiving stolen property, a felony of the 4th degree. I'm going to stay the criminal proceedings and place you on an intervention plan. Mr. Mulkey, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. He acknowledges that he has a substance addiction. Your Honor, specifically, I noted heroin and fentanyl. I believe he would like to get help for that. I think that him being 35 years old, lack of a criminal record, at least shows that he's got the foundation for succeeding at an ILC program. So I would respectfully ask this court to appropriately place him. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Ramsey, what do you want to tell me?
It's been a rough go the last 4 years, you know. I regret all of it. Being in jail, you know, I know maybe ruins some people's lives, but it saved mine. I look at it as I've had an opportunity to view life in a different perspective, you know. One that obviously sucks, but one that's a consequence of my actions. So I'm just trying to get better.
So what happened? You said the last 4 years. What happened 4 years ago?
That's when my opiate addiction began. I started using opiates after a car accident that I was in to heal me from pain, and then I couldn't use the opiates anymore. They weren't available to me, so I started buying other drugs on the street to supplement that need.
What were you buying?
Initially it was fake pressed Percocet pills, and then from there those weren't available anymore, so it turned into heroin, fentanyl, or what they call on the street dope. Because I couldn't get dope sometimes, it would turn into other drugs, you know.
What treatment have you got?
So a while back I tried a detox program. It was in Mill Creek, Pennsylvania, but I just relapsed, and that was 1 year after I started my addiction on opiates. Other than that, I haven't received any other treatment. So it's been 3 years of straight drug use.
All right, so what happened with this offense here?
So we were, when I say we, I mean my wife and I, we were jonesing for drugs, and we had an opportunity to go and get drugs at a specific point in time, but didn't have a ride. So we were running around asking neighbors to give us a ride, and stumbled upon this neighbor who wasn't home. The keys were in his truck, and we took the truck. By the time we went and got the drugs and tried to bring the truck back, there was a state cop in the driveway, and we kind of panicked and hit the gas and went on the run. We ended up living in the woods, me and my wife and I. I've got two beautiful daughters that were with my parents, who now are in the custody of my in-laws. But that's a blessing too.
Why did you come here?
This is where the drugs were.
Where?
This is the closest. We would drive to Cleveland, Ashtabula. I was here in Madison selling tools.
Where did the tools come from?
We had taken them from other people.
Who?
Well, some from the store and others from people I don't know.
Where were you selling them?
I was on Facebook Marketplace selling them.
Facebook garbage can, right?
Correct.
That's what it is. So, how much money did you get for all this crap?
I was gonna get $200. I didn't end up selling the tools that day.
Now, how far from your house Mill Creek?
No, I live in East Springfield.
Okay, how far is East Springfield from here?
It's about 50 minutes, an hour.
Weren't there any drugs around where you live?
It was a price comparison or a price thing.
They're cheaper here?
Yeah.
Okay, so you went to you got some in Ashtabula?
I would sometimes. Other times, if I was closer to Cleveland, I would drive all the way to Cleveland just to get them.
Where in Cleveland would you go?
That would be between 90th and St. Clair to 123rd and St. Clair. Anywhere between there.
And then what about, where are you at this truck stop out here?
Yeah, I was at the Love's gas station in Madison.
Is that a regular place for you?
No. That's where I was meeting somebody to sell the tools.
Okay. So what are you gonna do about all this stuff?
Whatever I have to clear it up. Just,
Well, clear what up? I mean, what do you mean clear it up?
I mean, if I have to serve time in jail, do rehab, whatever I've got to do just to get my family back.
Well,
in.
how long you been sitting in jail?
3 months.
92 days, is that right, Nicole? 93. 93? So have you developed a plan in the 93 days you've been sitting there wasting time, or what are you gonna do? I mean, you're 35, you don't have a criminal record, you got a drug habit. It's some of the worst drugs out there. So until you had that, you seemed rather productive in life, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's gonna change going forward?
Well, I'm just hoping to become that again, productive.
Okay, so how are you gonna accomplish that? It ain't gonna happen like that, right?
Right.
So how are you gonna accomplish that?
Well, start by once I complete the rehab, getting a job, getting a vehicle and a place to live again, and then hopefully having my kids back.
How long were you in the detox back in 21?
5 days.
5 days, and after 5 days you were detoxed?
Yeah.
Okay. So why didn't you do something right after that, once you detox, right? Because the problem is that you get high, you come down from that high, and then if you don't get some more, you get sick, right?
Yeah.
All right, so the purpose of the detox was to get you through that period, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why didn't you do something after that, treatment-wise?
I guess it's just, I thought I had control of it at the time.
Why in the world would you think you had control of it when you had to go to detox in order to do something about it?
It was just,
Isn't that rather delusional?
it really is.
Okay.
And, hindsight's 20/20. That's, it's
It may be 20/20, but sometimes foresight is 20/22. Okay, because if you got this problem that you can't get out of the cycle, and then for a short period of time after detox, you're out of the cycle, then you would think, I better do something about this, or I'm going back to 90th and Superior to get some more, right? I mean,
Right.
so what plan have you developed in the last 93 days that's gonna get you out of this nonsense?
Well, the plan was to enter a rehab facility. That was, I know I need it. You know, it's the, I don't know. It's. I believe that's the answer, and it's what I really need to do in order to overcome the drug addiction.
That's not the answer, okay? That's the
Right.
first step in getting the answer, and the answer is to stop using, okay?
Sure. Yeah.
And you have to do things along the way that are gonna lead you to that answer. It ain't gonna happen by itself. Just because you go to rehab doesn't mean you're gonna walk out and everything is gonna be fine. If that's what you think, then you'll end up back here again. Doesn't work like that.
I realize that everything's,
Okay,
it's hard work.
So when you get through rehab, and you haven't, I'm presuming you're not using drugs in the jail, right?
Oh,
Okay. And so when you get through the rehab, if you walk out and you don't do anything else because you think that you've gotten over it or can handle it, then you'll be back again for sure.
yes, sir.
Okay, because the success rate on this stuff is very small. But the success rate on this is very small because people think once they go to rehab, they have all the answers and they don't do anything more. And that's why they end up back, okay? The success rate for those who follow up and actually do what they're supposed to do every day is very high. So you determine that,
I'm very determined, sir.
okay? Now, what's your personality like before the drugs?
I'm known as a hardworking individual.
Okay,
It's,
because you seem rather dour as you sit here now.
Yeah.
And I can understand that, okay?
Mhm.
But you gotta get to the point where you got a hard road ahead. You gotta, and moping about it ain't gonna do it,
right.
okay? So if you're a hard worker, then you'll work hard, right? And you'll do what you have to do, so you're not coming back here again, okay? Because this has gotta be a kind of a different experience for you, sitting in jail for 3 months in a different state where you're from, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, what county in Pennsylvania do you live in?
Erie County.
Erie County? How far is the city of Erie from you?
I believe an hour and 20 minutes, respectively. You know, it takes me 20 minutes to drive from Springfield to Erie, so East Springfield's about an hour from here.
No, from your home in Springfield to Erie, how far is it?
About 20 miles.
20 miles, okay. All right. Ms. Linden, anything you want to add before I get into the terms of the plan?
Yes, Your Honor. In terms of my conversations with Mr. Smith, restitution in this matter would be $1,480. I had a long conversation with him, and one of the things that he talked about was the fact that not only was his truck taken, but all of his keys, including the keys to his house, and he's never had an issue in 20 years. And for him, it was, I guess, really earth-shattering because he really realized that he had to change the locks in his house, that a lot of the keys that he needed to any of his other equipment, that was gone, and he was really at a loss at that point, literally. He ended up missing some hunting boots, some diesel canisters, gas cans were punctured. His kids' dirt bike gloves were in there. He ended up, even with his garage keys. So it was a really difficult situation, not having his vehicle to be able to do things, and also then having to replace all those items. He did say that really the mental toll on him was more than what the actual financial toll was, and he was, I guess the best word I can say is perturbed about the fact that the defendant, he had claimed that somehow that they knew each other. He said, look, I'd never met this guy. I know he lived in the area, but I maybe met his girlfriend / wife's dad years ago, but that he did know that the defendant had been trying to get a vehicle from other people on the street. And so from the fact that he just decided to take this victim's vehicle, he just doesn't understand. He doesn't understand the issue and why he would do that. I would also just state to the court that I do know and I'm aware of the fact that in Pennsylvania, the defendant does have charges pending there through the state police related to this case, as well as to some stolen checks. Here, he not only took the truck, but then had taken tools from Home Depot, pocketed a knife at Love's. So there was a lot going on here. He was involved in organized criminal activity. He was with Barbara Weber when these things happened. There was economic harm and some psychological harm to the victim in this matter. He does have a drug or alcohol issue. And in terms of looking at the recommendations that were made from Lake Geauga, the recommendation there was NeoCap or residential treatment, sober living for 6 months, mental health and gambling evaluations, peer support services, and some 12-step programs as well. And they indicated that his prognosis was fair if all of those recommendations were followed. So I would ask that all of those be imposed some sort of residential treatment, some additional time in jail, and then the remaining terms that are set forth by Lake Geauga and the probation department. And a no contact order, sorry, Your Honor.
What's with the gambling stuff? You a gambler?
Oh, yeah, I was.
How long you been gambling?
A long time.
Do you win?
Sometimes.
Where do you
Most of the time
gamble?
now. Online gambling. Playing lottery, scratch-off tickets.
I mean, you've had some pretty good jobs, right?
Yeah.
Are you independently wealthy?
No.
And you ought to quit pissing your money away gambling, right?
Right.
Is it 1,480 to Mr. Smith?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. How are you gonna pay him back?
When I get a job, as soon as that money becomes available.
What?
When I get a job, as soon as that money becomes available, we'll have.
Okay, don't get the money by stealing shit and going to Facebook.
Absolutely not. Your Honor.
How are you gonna get your kids back?
Right now, I don't know.
Okay. When are you gonna get your kids back?
Right now, I don't know
You don't know? Why don't you know?
because I'm here.
Okay, right, so the answer is when you're gonna get your kids back is when you get your act together so that you can provide for your kids, right?
Right.
Okay, until you do that, you don't deserve to have them back, do you?
No, I don't.
All right, I'm gonna place you on a 5-year intervention plan. In terms of the plan, you're gonna serve 138 days in this jail with credit for 93. The last 30 of those days, you're gonna be in the jail treatment program. You're gonna complete that program, and you're gonna follow the recommendations. You're to have no drugs or alcohol, and you'll be screened. You're to use only one doctor and one dentist and one pharmacy if you are prescribed any medication. Any medication you are prescribed, you're to take it only as prescribed. You're gonna sign releases so probation can get all your records anytime they want. You're gonna obtain and maintain full-time employment. You're gonna pay restitution to Raymond Smith in the amount of $1,480. You're to have no contact with him. You're gonna attend at least 4 AA meetings a week and get a sponsor. And you're gonna pay the costs and supervision fees associated with this case. Any other terms, Ms. Newman?
In regards to reporting, I'm gonna do interstate compact.
Yeah, I was gonna do that,
Okay.
but no other terms?
Say a mental health evaluation and follow the recommendations.
Okay. Get a mental health evaluation and follow all those recommendations. Do you understand all the terms?
Yes.
Any question about any of the terms?
No.
Huh?
No.
All right, if you don't follow the terms, and I find you violated the terms, then you will, the plan will be terminated and you'll be convicted of this offense. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And then, once you're convicted of it, then I sentence you. You understand that?
Yes.
And you face 18 months in prison. Do you understand that?
Yes.
I'm gonna, we're gonna enter into the, hopefully, the interstate compact, so we transfer this supervision to Erie County, Pennsylvania, or wherever they do their supervision. But we keep tabs on it, and if you don't do what you're supposed to do there, you're gonna be arrested and come right back here. You got it?
Yes, sir.
So, you've seen both sides of this, right? You've seen 30 years as a productive citizen, and you've seen now 4 or 5 years on the other side. So, so it's up to you to utilize whatever help you need in order not to come back here. Got it?
Thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Linden? The bond is released.
No, Your Honor, nothing further.
Anything else, Mr. Mulkey?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right.
All rise.